kicking off our fantasy blitz with different position rankings. This week in today's episode, we're actually going to go into our quarterback rankings on this one. So we all sat down, we all got together and put a ranking system of the top 32 to 37 quarterbacks. You know, Dan had to go a little extra and rank some of our backup quarterbacks that probably aren't going to start. But we wanted to get out there and show you what we have, what our opinions are on this, and how we can get things pushed forward. So with that being said, we're going to jump into our top 12 specifically. And for that top 12, there's always an elite tier, guys. Dan, what would you say your elite, tiering would be? We know there's probably one, if not maybe two or three quarterbacks in it, but specifically, why are those players elite?
So my elite tier, so probably going to be one player, and we're looking at Josh Allen specifically. You can look at the rankings right now. We all have Josh Allen as number one. But our elite tiers guys are going to be, have multiple spike games. Every quarterback has the ability to go out there and throw 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. They're going to have great games where they're going to get a ton of fantasy points. Who's going to do that consistently? Josh Allen, we all feel that way about. My list, I think Drake May consistently can do things, not necessarily at Josh Allen's level, but get those high spike weeks. Lamar Jackson, same way. I'm still a big fan of Jalen Hurts. I don't love Jalen Hurts, but he can have those spike weeks. So those are my 4 guys that I think that consistently can do things that no one else in the league can do. You can argue Jaden Daniels is in that list. I don't have him there. Looks like y'all don't have him there. I think I actually have him higher than some of y'all do. Both of you, actually looking at this list right now, I have him higher than both of y'all. So it doesn't seem like y'all have him in that level. You can argue a Jaden Daniels can get to that level. I don't see it. You want the rushing upside. You want the high passing volume, the touchdowns, the big plays. But what gets you at that elite tier, you got to be able to run the ball. You got to be able to score touchdowns on the ground. Much as I love Matthew Stafford, you see he's not in my top 12. Doesn't offer a lot of rushing volume. And in fantasy, that's what you want. You want a quarterback that can do it all. Obviously, Burrow's up there as well. And he doesn't offer a ton of rushing, but somewhat mobile. I'll pass it on to y'all. But that's what I view as my elite tier is you want some rushing volume. You want a quarterback that can do it all. And that's why I don't have Jaden there. I mean, he's coming off an injury. He's going in his 3rd year. Drake May, same situation, but 2 healthy years. So that's why he's higher than Jaden. But yeah, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts can do it all. Going to have those high spike weeks. Yeah.
So yeah, I do see your point with Jalen Hurts, but it's only because he's Saquon's vulture. If he did not get those tush push TDs, I don't think Jalen Hurts is a top 18 or 20 fantasy quarterback. He just doesn't throw the ball down the field. He doesn't get those yards. He does run, but I mean, he's not giving you that Lamar Jackson level running.
Are you feeling biased by his actual quarterback play or his fantasy quarterback play? I would not want Jalen Hurts. I don't know if he's a top 10 NFL quarterback. I think he's better than people give him credit for, but I wouldn't say he's top 10 NFL quarterback. But fantasy reasons, he gives you a lot of rushing upside. He gives you the touchdowns, and he's better throwing the ball than people give him credit for. And he doesn't have the headache in A.J. Brown. Yeah. I've talked about Devonta Smith a lot. And I don't mean to cut you off.
Easy.
I love Devonta Smith. I think he's going to have a huge year. I don't like Mekhi Lemon. I'll say that right now. I don't like Mekhi Lemon. But he's going to get passes. I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a really good year. And then he's going to vulture a couple touchdowns as well. That's why I have him at number 4. So you continue. I won't cut you off. Go for it. Go for it.
No. Yeah, I was just going to say Jalen. I just don't see him. If without those vulture touchdowns, he's not even a QB1 in fantasy football. That's how much of a drop I think those 4 to 6 touchdowns give him, because a lot of these quarterbacks, they're even last year they were maybe Josh Allen was far and beyond the number one quarterback last year, but everybody else I think if I'm doing my research was within 80 points of each other, 70 points of each other. You take those 6 touchdowns away, that's halfway down the page for him. So, with that being said, though, as for the elite tier for myself, I think it's somebody who, as you said, can give you the rushing, can give you those touchdowns, but also you have to factor in their schedule. Like that's somewhere where I like to look at for my quarterbacks when I'm trying to find an elite quarterback. If I'm going to take a quarterback in the first round of a fantasy draft, he's got to have a good schedule on his hands to be able to attack those teams. And I think last year Josh Allen got lucky with some of those games and ended up having a better season because of some of the opponents he played. Granted, he did play against the Dolphins twice and the Jets twice, so that helped him. But and I think they also played some other bad teams. But this year, for myself, I would say Josh Allen's probably the only elite tiered quarterback, and then after that, you're going to have a gap. What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, it's Josh Allen than everybody else. I agree. It's Josh Allen than everybody else for the most part. But the way I view like I would say like top 5-ish quarterbacks, if you want to call that like an elite tier, is just like, yo, you got to look for rushing upside potential is one thing, because that always helps in fantasy football. The other way I look at it is like I have Stafford and Joe Burrow in my top 5, and that's the only reason I view that is because I feel like those two guys as of right now are some of the guys consistently that can guarantee you they're going to throw for at least 2 passing touchdowns in a game. And I think that plays a big factor. And some of those guys, or well, at least I should say Burrow and Stafford, in my own opinion, can easily both go for 40 plus passing touchdowns in a season, which that puts you at a super elite tier also. But like you said, the rushing always helps, with Drake May being athletic himself. Josh Allen is always going to be at the top, though, for me as of right now, because he's done it in and out every year with or without a bona fide receiving stud. Last year, he never really had a bona fide receiving option. This year they get DJ Moore, who I wouldn't say he's as good as Diggs was at his peak, but he's definitely an upgrade as to what they had in the locker room last season. But that rounds out my thing. I think there's Josh Allen is in a league of his own. And I think you might have like 4 or 5 QBs that you can put in that next tier. And then after that, I think is the drop off to where you wouldn't take one of those guys as far as draft rounds go based on a 12 team, full PPR setup or whatever. I would say Josh Allen probably goes in most leagues in the 3rd. And then you go, from there on out, you might get a little small run. But I think for the most part, Allen is going to be top up there. And then I think those next 4 or 5 that I have on my list is going to go. But for the most part, it looks like our top 7 is pretty freaking close.
Yeah, I wanted to say I was with you on that. After Allen, I have from May to Prescott. I know y'all's order is different, but around that sixth overall quarterback, I feel like after that, no matter how you have it, personally, you feel like there's a drop off after. I got it. You want to target a little bit later. So we have different guys there. Like, so mine is between Prescott and Daniels. Anybody before that, from Drake May to Dak Prescott, I feel like you can pick in any order. Your points per game isn't going to change much. It's more of a preference. And if you can get your guy later, go for it. Don't go overdraft them, because I think all of them are in the same. I hate saying that they're in the same tier, but it's a tier thing. And then Jaden Daniels, actually, to like pick the 18th quarterback, I feel, or could almost be interchangeable. It's like a point a game difference from what I looked at. Yes. So it's a preference thing there. Like, again, this is all preference, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're not missing out on, like, I have Matthew Stafford not in my top 12, but it's not like if you draft him earlier than you would Justin Herbert, it's not like you're doing anything wrong. Like, they're gonna have similar point totals at year end. I just think Justin Herbert's a little bit better, or for fantasy purposes, than Stafford. But yeah, I like Brad was saying, it's Josh Allen and everybody else. You could, a tier down. I feel like you have your top tier, then like another 4 or 5 guys, and then like 15 guys.
Yep. No, there's a pretty big drop off.
The only thing with like I was saying before, I think the only thing I was saying, like he talked about Stafford and Herbert. I think Herbert's an interesting name because with the new OC hire, I think that he could have a top 5 QB season. Everybody's been kind of on Herbert's butt about not having any kind of success in the playoffs, but I think that this is his year to actually prove it. You got a high potent offensive coordinator in there. Your 2 tackles should be back healthy, which was a huge deal last year. And also that stud running back who I think could be a real sleeper pick of the draft, Omarion Hampton. I think you can expect big things out of that whole entire offense. So Herbert could be one of those guys you could probably get in those middle rounds that could actually produce like a top 2-round draft pick, so to speak.
No, that is actually a pretty good analysis there because Justin Herbert is going into that Mike McDaniel offense, and he's going to throw the ball a lot more. You're going to get a lot more quick passes, which just means his yardage is going to go up. He's going to have a lot more short yardage stuff. He's going to have the deep ball there as well. But I do have him a little lower on this. I do see some others that are a little better than him, but I think he is definitely still somebody you'd want to focus on as your true QB1 start every week type of player, which is really what this top 12 list is. This is a list right here where we think you go in and you draft these guys and this is going to be your starter. You can go grab a flyer in the last round and grab some guy who's probably going to get you your spot start for their bye week. And you're just going to run it with these dudes. And I think everybody on this list, has the opportunity to be good this year. But yeah, on this.
Can I say something real quick?
These are set.
I love that you all have Trevor Lawrence above me. I feel like I'm rubbing off on y'all a little bit.
I love Trevor Lawrence.
I love Trevor Lawrence, and I'm at 8.
Well,
and y'all have him higher, and I love it. So thank you for
that.
I
have his. I feel like his situation is Justin Herbert. His situation's like Justin Herbert light this year.
I completely agree with you, and I still have him lower than y'all. And I talk him up all the time. And
you do,
and y'all don't. And the fact that y'all have him ranked high, it makes me happy. That's all I wanted to say.
You love him so much that I've actually created a drop for you.
I love Trevor Lawrence so much.
And for those who couldn't hear, I'm going to play it one more time. And this is going to show up a lot because this is how much Dan truly does love T-Law.
I love Trevor Lawrence so much.
That's from our first episode. If you haven't had the opportunity to go back and watch that, definitely check it out. We do talk not as much fantasy in those episodes. That's more of just general sports talk and stuff. But we did focus into quarterbacks and stuff like that. And Dan had a gush over his T-Law. So I was shocked when I got your rankings. You put him at 8.
I put him below Jaden Daniels. I put him below Jaden Daniels.
And again, we have multiple episodes talking about these different quarterbacks, but Jaden, you've talked so much trash about Jaden that you ranked him ahead of your lover.
I know. Like I said, 7 and 18 are all it's a crapshoot. So this is the order I have, and you're going to see, when we go through 13 to 24, like at 18 is like a cutoff from. There's like 11 guys in there that they're all so close every week. Any of them can do well. They're going to have as high as spike weeks, but they're all so close together. Jaden's upside is through the roof. I don't think he's at Lamar's level or Josh Allen's level yet. He could be there. I am lower on him. I thought y'all would have him a lot higher. So apparently I was wrong there. I was way too high on him. I'm still high on him.
Yeah, he needs to stay healthy in that offense. That's
I
really
am just shocked that y'all had Jaden as low as you did and Trevor Lawrence as high as you did. But I'm happy. I'm so happy that I'm the one that has Trevor Lawrence as low as this. So
I will
good.
say
I'm
my Trevor
glad.
Lawrence ranking is more based on the fact that it's the second season under Liam Cohen,
The fact that he's
and I
won
think
multiple leagues last year.
it's his second season under Cohen, and if you look at Mayfield's second season under Cohen, that was the season right before he went to Jacksonville, and it was really good.
Yeah, that's not a bad take.
Yeah.
I'm just glad to
Um,
see the Trevor Lawrence love.
So at 12, I will say me, Dan and myself put Mahomes. Brad, you got Mahomes at 9. You're not worried about that ACL tear coming back?
No, not at all. I think that he had a down year last year for his standards, 100%. Rashee Rice is supposedly ready for training camp. I think that's going to be his main target this year. Also, last year he had 0 run game help whatsoever. I think the signing of Kenneth Walker is going to take a little bit of pressure off of all that pass rush. So I think that'll put him back into easily a top 10 fantasy QB. As long as Andy Reid's still breathing and Mahomes is the quarterback for Kansas City, I can just see the offense is going to put up numbers. It might not be top 5 numbers, but he's going to be relevant enough to where he's one of those quarterbacks where you can just set it and forget it. So,
yeah.
That's why I kind of had him at
Mahomes,
the bottom.
Yeah.
Go for
Mahomes.
it.
No, I was going to say for Mahomes specifically, I mean, most people are probably used to seeing him, ranked in the top 5 for fantasy football. I mean, I know in a lot of my fantasy leagues, people take him QB1, like the first quarterback off the board. So with his ACL, I mean, I do have him still at 12. He is still a QB1 in my opinion. I think he's going to finish the season at that position somewhere in the top 12. He will finish. But he may not play all 17 games, so we're going to have to see how his knee's going and how quick he can return and how efficient he can get once he returns. Because even if he starts week 1 for some, is able to do it, that doesn't mean he's going to be Patrick Mahomes. He's going to probably be stuck in the pocket instead of moving around and making those acrobatic throws. That's what makes him so special.
Yeah, well, I actually have him at 12 for a completely different reason. I think he's going to be perfectly healthy, like Brad said. I'm more worried about the rest of the offense. So every guy above him on my list, I think, is part of a very potent offense. And I love Andy Reid, but can we expect a ton out of Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy and an old Travis Kelce? Yeah, they have a better run game. But does that offense strike fear in you? Like, I like Kenneth Walker as a running back, but he's not Saquon Barkley back there. Like, I'm not trying to talk bad about Kenneth Walker. He's a good running back, but he's probably the best running back that Patrick Mahomes has had. But that offense doesn't scare me. Like, the Broncos, yeah, you say, oh, Bo Nix, but they have Jalen Wild now. And Cortland Sutton's been really good for a long time. The Bears, you could talk crap about Caleb Williams, but they have a lot of pieces. Everybody above them on this list, besides Washington, maybe, has a really good offense, and Jade Daniels is just a freak athlete. That's why I have Patrick Mahomes so low. Is he can do everything, but I don't think his offense can. And you need the offense to help your fantasy stats. Like, it's not just a you thing out there, unless you're Josh Allen. Everybody else, you need to have people around you to help you get those points. I don't think Patrick Mahomes has enough around him to be a top 5 quarterback in fantasy. So yeah, that's why I have him at 12. So just a different take. We have him at the same spot, but I think for different reasons.
Different avenue, no, definitely. But wrapping up this part of the segment, this is 1 through 12 right here. These are what we think is our, starting quarterback for your fantasy team. Where are you targeting some of these players? Are you going, strategy wise? Are you targeting some of these early? You're kind of holding off in the middle, trying to grab someone like a Drake May, maybe middle of the draft, or are you just waiting to the end and going to grab some of these 13 through 37 players that we haven't gotten to yet?
I think you can get a lot of these guys late. Like,
I think
Trevor
that you
Lawrence
take
always falls. Justin Herbert always falls, and they go early. Bo Nix ain't a bad pickup. Caleb Williams ain't a bad pickup. Pat Mahomes, if somebody grabs him early, cool. That just pushes other guys down the board. I would not go try to get one of those top 4 guys. The next grouping, they're all relatively replaceable. You may lose a point per game difference, but go get somebody later.
I agree with that. I think that if you can't get Josh Allen, around that 3rd round area, because that's where I'd be comfortable taking him, then I think that you just kind of wait. And then if you can get any one of those guys in one of those middle late rounds, like between 7 and 10, especially if you compare them with like a bona fide wide receiver weapon to get that stack, like we always talk about, I think that's the route you should take.
Yeah, the stack opinion right there is actually a good point with some of these guys. I mean, you got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. You got Stafford. You got Drake May and A.J. Brown, Dak and CD. I mean, there's some stackability here. Goff and Amon-Ra. So you do have the opportunity to stack with these quarterbacks. Yeah.
I do want to say something quick. I'm looking at a list right now. Like I know when I mentioned Bo Nix, and 2 of our lists have him as a top 12 quarterback. He's like quarterback 16, going around like pick 100 and something. Like, I think his fantasy output is similar to a guy that you get the quarterback 7 or something, and he's going at quarterback 16 in a lot of leagues. Just something I'm looking at this list right now, and he popped out. Because I see he's top 12 in 2 of our rankings. Yeah, go ahead and hold off on getting one of those quarterbacks high up. Again, maybe we're wrong about Bo Nix, but I like him. But just an example, like he's 16 on a lot of boards, and a couple of us are high on him. So you can get starting caliber quarterbacks in like round 8.
Yeah. Good. We'll go right into the next segment, which is our next ranking. So we'll slide on into the 13 through 24 spot, and obviously there's some players here that some of the other people had ranked higher on in that 1 through 12. So with that being said, where does your reliable QB1 stop? Where's the guy on this list? Where's a guy where you're like, I don't know if I could start him every week. This is where I have to cut my list off and know that if I'm picking this guy, I need to get another quarterback somewhere in this list as well to be able to supplement them. What do you think, Dan?
So I've been Homer here. I think Tyler Shuck's gonna have a great year. So I'm saying right after Tyler Shuck. Jackson Dart, he's got a lot of upside. A lot of people are high on him. From my rankings, like not just in these, but like an actual points per game ranking, he was a lot higher. I lowered him down a little bit. I don't love their offense. He concerns me a little bit. I think he may have a little bit of fall off, and I'm gonna homer here with Shuck. But like Purdy, you're solid with. Shuck, I think, is gonna have a great year, so I'm sticking with him. Dart, I think, could be really good, but also really bad. That's kind of why he's right in the middle. And then Goff. Goff is your solid quarterback, not going to be special, not going to be a quarterback. He's not going to be the best quarterback in fantasy, but he's kind of where you want to stop. You could argue Jones, Mayfield, Love, but don't love them. I like Goff. And again, if Dart can be good, but can also be bad. So
yeah,
he's a darter. I think Shuck, though, is again, I'm super high on him. If you don't like Shuck, fine. Stop at Purdy. But I think Shuck can be in that level with Purdy and Stafford and above.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Brad?
I mean, I agree with Dan for the most part on that stuff, but in my opinion, like this tier of rankings we have, these are kind of like guys that you can, if your starting quarterback goes down or gets hurt in fantasy, I view these guys as somebody that you can plug in to your lineup and they just won't lose you the week. Most of these guys should be able to still get you that 15 to 20 point scored range, no matter how they do it, whether it's like Aaron Rodgers, who I know I have ranked higher than a lot of y'all. And the reason I haven't ranked that as high as I do is because I just feel like he's probably one of the most mistake-free quarterbacks still in the league, even at his age. So he's not going to lose anything for you, and I can see him easily throwing 2 touchdowns a game. I like them bringing in Michael Pittman for him and giving him a possession receiver. So I think that helps him out a lot. Tyler Shuck, I agree with Dan. I think I think he could splash on this year, being his second year under Kellen's off. Learn it a little more, especially if our O-line and all the weapons are healthy. Brock Purdy, like y'all said, and Jared Goff, I think both of those two guys are like models of consistency. They're, to me, high floor, low ceiling players, and I think that's what you're kind of looking at in this tier. Kyler Murray, I don't think he's a great quarterback, but his rushing ability, in my opinion, makes his floor higher because he could literally scamper for 60 or 70 yards a game with a touchdown just on his scrambling ability alone. But other than that, that's what I think you're looking at in this tier. I think this is a tier where, like, if your guy happens to go down, one of these guys you can plug in and they're not going to just lose the game for you type of deal. So.
No, yeah, that is a interesting take there. Mainly due to the fact that you have some top quarterbacks like Caleb Williams. Jared Goff was a top fantasy quarterback in years past. So I do see what you're saying there. And yeah, for my list, I think I would cut it off right around Shuck. I think everybody from Shuck and above, if you do end up picking them, you do have a quality quarterback that can start you every week. Will they win you games? They might not win you the game, but they're not going to lose it. And that's what is most important when you're trying to get starters for your fantasy team is you need to find players that will not lose you a game. You won't have that 2-point week where you lose against your opponent by, 3 points or 1 point. It's those types of games you want to avoid. And I don't think any of the quarterbacks from 17 and above on my list will give you those 10, 12-point quarterback weeks where you're expecting your quarterback to get 25 points and be one of your top scorers. And like y'all had mentioned, I am high on Shuck as well. Look, it's biased. We're all from Louisiana. We're big Saints fans. It's biased.
We're excited.
I believe a lot in Kellen Moore, so I think Shuck's going to do really well this year. But another team player that could be a sneaky guy that could move up. I would say even could move up into QB1 territory, which I know that may sound blasphemous because of how I feel about him as an actual NFL quarterback in the actual game, not fantasy. But Cam Ward, he's got his number one target. It's somebody who could go off this year. His O-line's not great. His running back's not great. But he's going to be behind in a lot of games. He's going to be throwing the ball.
Ooh, disrespect Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard from like 2018 is relevant. Tony Pollard in 2026 is – why is he even in the NFL at this point?
Mr. Consistency.
Still a 1,000-yard running back. Hey,
he
look,
is.
I like Cam Ward.
Thank you.
I like Cam Ward. I like his connection with a certain tight end that we will eventually talk about in an upcoming episode.
Yeah.
And I don't have him ranked as high as I wanted to rank him because no one seems to think he's going to do good. So I couldn't rank him way too high. I like his connection there, and he does have 2 new receivers. I like Gunnar Helm, right? But no, Cam Ward can definitely scoot his way up. But if you can get Cam Ward late, be happy with getting Cam Ward late. Don't go reaching for him. Be happy that you get him late. He can be good. You just don't want him. Your first week of the season, you should not have him as your QB1. Try to get somebody else as your QB1.
No, but I could totally see certain types of players who like to draft, or certain types of fantasy players that like to draft, where they want to take their quarterback in the second to last round. That's somebody who I would go out and try to target, because you're right. Week 1, you might not look great. Week 2, week 3, you might not look great, but week 7, week 8, he's going to catch on. I think this year, I think he's going to take that step, just like Chuck's going to take that step, and be a more accurate and a higher pass volume quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Anybody else in this list that anybody wants to talk about before we move on to the backup quarterbacks?
No, I think, like you said, most of these guys,
Yeah.
they're going to be good for spot starts. They're not going to be bad. None of them are going to be your league winner, but none of them should fall flat on their face.
Yeah.
Except Malik Willis. We don't know anything about him.
No, that's a good point. And that's why I dropped him out of my top 25 because
I thought he could, he could be good enough with his rushing ability. That's why I'm a little bit higher.
I don't believe in the Miami Dolphins offense. I can't put him.
He's going to be running for his life. But Malik Washington's wide receiver 1.
Is Malik
Willis? They're going to go back to running the what were they running with Ricky Williams?
That was Ronnie Brown, the Wildcat.
Ronnie Brown, was that his
Wildcat? Yep, Wildcat. Malik Willis is
it's a running back. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. No. Jokes aside, 25 to 37, if you're drafting a quarterback in this list as your starter, I'm sorry. Why'd you do that to yourself? Like, seriously, why would you put yourself in that position?
Hopefully you're in a 30-team league.
Start Jacoby Brissett. Yeah, if you're in like a 16 or 18-team or 32-team league and you're drafting one of these guys, I understand. But if you're in a 12-team league or a 10-team league and you're looking at one of these players right here to be your fantasy starter, why?
You hope it's Bryce Young, honestly, just because maybe
that's the worst one on the list. No.
He's got like 3 receivers and a tight end that are all above like 6'3". So just throw it up and hopefully the offense clicks.
That's your hope in this offensive line.
True. That's why just throw it up. You don't have to see. Just in the air.
The saddest thing about this section of the list, and it is sad, but is that Deshaun Watson was once a top 5 QB talent in fantasy and real life, and how they have fallen.
Yeah.
Don't do stupid shit.
Exactly.
That's what's crazy. Stupid shit.
What's crazy about Deshaun Watson's career trajectory is the fact that it's not like his talent changed. So something happened.
That's what I'm saying.
He became a
that's what I'm saying.
Human. I guess didn't become one. He was always one, I guess, and it just came out, and you can't come back from that.
No.
What about
well, you know what happened?
The Ravens. I can't.
What happened is
he got
fell
paid, off so bad. Bro. Don't be a creep to your massage therapist.
No,
that's what happened.
You can
man.
continue to have a good career, man. The second you start becoming a rapist,
he got paid.
He got paid. I do think there are players
he got guaranteed
money. And then, it's true. So I know on this list right here, I think I'm the only. Let me see. Just make sure. Yeah, I'm the only one that put Kirk Cousins ahead of Mendoza. Y'all two are much higher on Mendoza over Cousins.
I think Mendoza is going to start more games. That's the only reason why.
Interesting.
I think he'll start like 10 games as opposed to Kirk with 7 games.
I think they're going to let Kirk start off, let Mendoza get a little comfortable, and then he's going to take over.
I think Kirk will have the higher per game stats, but overall, I mean, Fernando Mendoza plays 10 games, his stats are going to be higher. So that's the only reason why is a more games played kind of thing. If you're going to draft somebody at this range to play more of your season, you go Mendoza. But if you're spot start, again, like Kirk's going to give you a higher, but again, who's starting that week?
That is a fair point there. Mendoza could be somebody you would want to target in like a dynasty league almost to hold him for a year or two. For redrafts, I just don't think he's draftable, to be honest, unless you're in like a 16 or more league where you want to back up. But I just think I would wait and grab him on the waiver wire after he blows off a couple of games and takes off.
I would take
I don't
him
know.
over the people below him. Like,
Well,
again,
cool.
look at my list. I'm not taking a Browns quarterback above him.
Yeah.
I'm not taking JJ above him. Michael Penix is the only one that I could be swayed if we think he's healthy enough and we think Tua is going to be bad enough. But if Tua is healthy and Michael Penix is not, and they ride with Tua and they're somehow all the things to say about the Falcons offense comes true and they're awesome, like everybody says they're going to be, and they ride with Tua, then yeah, I'd rather take a shot at Fernando over Penix. But the rest of these guys, I don't think they're worth drafting over Mendoza.
No.
And you should not be drafting anybody at this point. You should already have gotten your quarterbacks and be done. But if you're desperate and you need somebody on your team, draft a guy that's going to start a couple games, go ahead and take the creeping Deshaun Watson or Kirk Cousins. Take Cousins and Mendoza. Just do that. If this is your strategy right now, go ahead and take both Raiders quarterbacks, and hopefully the rest of your team is stacked.
What's your thoughts on that, Brad?
I mean, you just sorry if you're at this point and you're trying to take one of these guys. But yeah, I agree. I think if you got to take somebody out of this list, on my end, if you take somebody out of my list, it's going to be Malik Willis, and that's strictly for the rushing upside. But I agree with you. I think the Dolphins' offense could be bottom 5 in the league this year. I do have Daniel Jones at the very top of this list, and I like Daniel Jones, but he was off to a good start last year, or I should say the Colts team was off to a good start last year, and then he got hurt, but he just hadn't shown me enough on the Giants to solidify him jumping into that higher tier of rankings that we displayed a minute ago. He's got to do it again. And, you know, they let his quote unquote number one option walk, as I'm going to view that as Michael Pittman. So I do think that his new number one option will be Tyler Warren. No, that's what I'm saying.
Josh
so
Downs and Tyler
they got Tyler Warren
and Alec Pierce.
Yeah. So, you know, but then again, Daniel Jones, if he's healthy, gives you rushing upside as well. But we'll see how that works out, you know, with him coming back. They work like a splash in the pan, or however you want to word it, last year. We'll see if they can repeat.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to repeat. I think they're going to have a fallback on that one. But Superflex. Let's touch on this. Anybody on this list right here that you would take as your second quarterback for Superflex? You should have already taken one above here. But if you're stuck and you wanted to wait, is there anyone on this list you'd go after? Well, you know, Dan, what you thinking?
I make fun of Bryce Young, but I don't hate the offense he's in. I like his receivers. I've used him in the past in other leagues. He's not a bad quarterback. He's not gonna underproduce. He's not gonna be a good quarterback. It's definitely not a one I want to use for my QB1. But if the rest of my team is built out and I have to rely on Bryce Young as my super flex spot, I don't hate it. Cam Ward is also on my list. I have him above him. So if I get Cam Ward or Bryce Young, anybody after that, I'm not happy about. I did something wrong or I did something really, really well and I drafted great and everybody just went over crazy on drafting quarterbacks. But yeah, I don't want to draft anybody after Bryce Young. Yeah, I think 27 and down.
Yeah.
Maybe if you get Aaron Rodgers, you hope he has a good season. But I mean, I
know you're really low on Aaron Rodgers, but we're gonna hit that in a minute or so. But yeah, no, I'm kind of on board with you. I think at this point, 25, 26, 27 on my rankings, Willis, Brissett, or Young, that's kind of who you'd want to target with that for your super flex if you're in this position right here. Another one that I have on my rankings, y'all both ranked him higher, but it's Kyler Murray. I'm just lower on him in general. I think his flash in the pan is over. I think he's been figured out in the league. So even when he goes to KOC, Kevin O'Connell is an excellent quarterback
That's what I'm about to
coach.
say. Even with KOC,
He turned Sam Darnold, the pumpkin Sam Darnold, into a Super Bowl MVP.
he made
But-
backup Dan Jones into an MVP candidate for the Colts.
Yes, he did. You're correct.
I mean,
You're
it has
correct.
nothing to do with the
He
Colts
is a
coaching
quarterback
staff.
whisperer.
It's just KOC, by the way.
No.
Nothing to do with
The
the
only
Colts coaching
quarterback-
staff.
The only quarterback he can't whisper to is McCarthy.
McCarthy's
Well,
too busy meditating
he's
in the
deaf.
end zone.
He's deaf. On Brad, on your list, is there anybody you'd grab as that second Superflex quarterback?
For me on my list, it's Cam Ward. I think he offers the most upside. They finally got him some legitimate weapons as far as his receiving guys go. I agree with Dan, the tight end there. I think could be a deep sleeper in leagues too.
Yeah.
But he offers you the rushing ability also, as being a mobile quarterback too. But he also showed some flashes with some pretty decent throws if you go look at some of his tape as well. But if you're still, even at this point in the super flex league, if you're on this part of the list, you're doing your draft wrong. It's just, it is what it is. You do.
I'm all for
you
drafting
just ran
quarterbacks
off-
late, even in a super flex league. But man,
Brad-
you should
Brad
not be
just-
looking at Jacoby Brissett
No.
as your QB2.
No. You should have already drafted your QB2 well in advance. And if anything, you were looking at this list for your backup that doesn't match bye weeks is really all you're looking at that point. Nah.
Yeah.
Good.
You take a flyer
Good
on
stuff.
Gino at that point, man.
Even-
you
Yeah.
call it a day.
Even at that
know,
point, you
you-
might rock one QB you might even rock one QB in a super flex league at this point. And you just roll the dice. So I mean,
So our last quick topic that we're going to kind of hit up here is the big differences we had. We got three guys over here. We all have different opinions. Dan uses a super algorithm, and he has a supercomputer in his house that he tabulates all of his rankings. Brad is still in the Stone Age using a rock and chisel.
Got his marble notebook, man.
He got his marble notebook from 2007 that he's still using. But yeah, we had some big differences, guys.
That's right.
There's a couple
Same notebook I
quarterbacks
had
on
my
here that
whole
we
life.
Yep. That first one's Aaron Rodgers, but I'm going to actually start with Jalen Hurts. Even though there's not as big of a gap, he's more prominent. He has the ability to be better than Aaron Rodgers. His ceiling is higher. So Dan, you have him top 4. Not even top 4. He's top 5, but top 4. Like, what do you see that's so different?
He has the rushing ability that we look for. Like you said, he poaches touchdowns, but even not, he's still going to get you rushing touchdowns. He's going to throw touchdowns. Yeah, he's losing A.J. Brown, but they didn't have the connection last year. They didn't have the right offensive coordinator last year. I think that kind of bounces back, and I'm not a big Jalen Hurts fan either. I say I like everybody. I don't like Jalen Hurts, but I think he's still a good quarterback. He's gonna rush. He's gonna score touchdowns with his legs. He's gonna throw the ball. He's gonna throw it deep. Devonta Smith's gonna have a huge year. Mekhi Lemon is gonna have a good year. Not as high as all the Mekhi Lemon fans want him to have, but he's not gonna be terrible. Dallas Goedert somehow is going to be relevant still. Saquon's going to get some screens and take it to the house. Eagles are going to be a good team again. They were a good team last year. Like even when they had that down year, they're still good with Jalen Hurts under center. He's going to be a top 5 quarterback for fantasy.
Yeah, that is an interesting take. He's going to be top 5. I just don't see it. I can't see it. That offense is not good. You got Saquon. You do have Devonta, which I agree. I think he is going to be a top receiver. We're going to get to our receiver rankings, in a few days from now. But I do see that. Brad, you were kind of in the middle there with Jalen. How you feeling with him? You kind of agree with Dan? Might have lost Brad. Having a little bit of connection issues.
He wants to
Yeah,
know
we
how
can.
hard he has to go in.
Does
Does he really want to bash him or not too much?
Can y'all hear me? I think I was just spinning.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep. Yeah, Brad's going in and out. We're having some technical issues, but it's all good.
So tell me, what are your opinions on him? Obviously, you had him 10 spots lower.
I know, and I did kind of talk about it earlier. My main concern with him as a fantasy quarterback here is the vulture. If he doesn't get those vulture touchdowns from Saquon, what is he actually bringing to the table? He doesn't throw the ball over the middle of the field. He doesn't score that many touchdowns. He does run, but is he getting you Lamar Jackson level rushing yards? I don't think so. I see him as right on the outside of QB1. He's a starter. I would draft him as a starter if I had to, especially if I got Devonta. If I got Devonta, I'm taking him if he's there.
I know you put your lifts up. I'm just bouncing it off you right now. You got him lower than Goff, lower than Bo Nix, lower than. I'm trying to look at that tier of players I talked about where like it ended at Shuck. I know I'm higher than Shuck, but is he higher than?
Well, I have him higher. Yeah, I do have him higher than Shuck.
You have him higher than Nix and Goff, or no? Or you taking those guys over him?
I would take Goff over him. I think Goff's going to have yes. I think he's going to have a resurgent year this year. I think the new offense.
I don't like Hurts. I do like Goff, but I have Goff down the list at Hurts in the top 5. So that's interesting.
I don't think Goff is going to be Ben Johnson level offense, but I think he's going to get closer to that than he was last year. But yeah, no, and actually sliding into that Ben Johnson talk right there, Caleb Williams. So for those who may have listened to some of our other podcasts, I am very down on Caleb Williams as a NFL quarterback. I think he is not a top 20 NFL quarterback. I don't think he's good. I think the only reason he is successful in the NFL is because he has probably a top 3 offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson. But for fantasy, the fact that he has Ben Johnson as his offensive coordinator, he has Colson Loveland as his tight end, which we will talk about that in an episode coming up. He's got Odunze and some other wide receivers that are top. I think in fantasy he's a top 5 fantasy quarterback. I really do.
In order to be a good fantasy quarterback, you have to be at least a decent starting quarterback. That's why the fact you talk so much about Caleb Williams not being a top 20 quarterback, but being a top 5 fantasy quarterback, he's got to have stats. He's got to be doing something right to be top 5. Yeah. I don't know how you can argue that he's not a good. And look, I agree with you. I don't think he's a great quarterback. That's why I have him 10. I think he's going to have enough stats to be a top 10 quarterback. Honestly, I wanted to have him lower. All my projections, like I said, I'm the analytics guy. I got all the data, and it's telling me that he's going to be a top 10 quarterback. I wanted to put him in like 15, and I could not put him lower. Just could not argue it. But that whole grouping of guys, he could obviously be lower. I don't know how you argue that he's that high. And I'm trying
I believe in Ben Johnson.
My hardest to say he's 10. I want to put him so much lower. I believe in Ben Johnson too.
I don't want to be right because then my other takes are wrong.
Look, you can have him that high. I don't think he's going to be terrible for fantasy. Guys can be better in fantasy than they are in real life. That happens every year. But top 5, that's high. That's a little too rich.
No,
I don't speak for Brad. I think Brad's with me. He has him at 13.
Yeah.
He's even lower on him.
No, yeah. He definitely had him lower, similar to with Hurts. But with Stafford, you're not as high on Stafford. I don't see that with Stafford. I think this is his last year, or maybe second to last year. He might come back next year. But his
I wanna
defense
say
is going to give him the
this.
ball so much. He's going to have so much
Agreed.
opportunity.
And I think him, Burrow, and Prescott are all in very similar situations. None of them, none of the three of them offer a ton of rushing upside. They're all great quarterbacks and really good offenses. Um, but Stafford's age, I think I know people are down on Kyron Williams. Everybody seems to like Blake Corum, though. They have a better running game than probably Javante, and I love Chase Brown. I've talked about him ad nauseum. I think their run game is better. He also gets a lot of short touchdown passes to Javante.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that's going to keep up. Again, a lot of these guys are interchangeable, in my opinion, from like that 7 to 16, 17 range. But I think his touchdowns go down a bit. He doesn't offer anything in the way of rushing where like a Dak can move, Burrow can move, Stafford cannot.
Yeah.
Dude, he's not going to give you they're not going to give you much. They're going to give you something. I don't think Stafford's giving you anything, and that's why I have those guys higher. I think their offenses are just as good, and they offer just a bit more. Where Stafford's going to have a step down from all of his Devontae Adams touchdowns. I think Puka's still great. He's just kind of having a weird offseason. I don't think it's going to really affect him any, but he's just having a weird offseason. So it's hard to be like, yeah, they're going to be fantastic. Puka's going to be awesome. Like, he's just kind of having a weird time this year.
Yeah.
But I can see a little bit of a drop from Stafford. It's not going to be bad, again, if you end up with him. Awesome.
Yeah.
Again, he's 13 on my list. He could easily be a QB1, but I don't see him as one of those guys I want to rush out to get.
No, I mean I do see your arguments there, and then you are swaying me a little bit, but I still think he's gonna end up QB1. I still see QB1 all day.
He's awesome. He's a great quarterback. It's just like I'd be happy to get him. And again, if I can hold off and get a quarterback after the rest of my team's filled out and it's Stafford, I am happy.
Yeah.
Happy as a whatever you want to be happy about. Glad to have him. I am not going to try and draft him as a top 6, top 7. But y'all have him at 5 and 6. Yeah, I'm not trying to get him there. Again, happy to take him if 12 guys are already off the board. Oh man, that excites me.
No, definitely. But yeah, any other leftover takes here? I mean, we didn't really talk about Aaron Rodgers, but we're both low on him. Brad was a little higher, but with those technical issues,
Rodgers,
Brad's not able to stand up with his 15th ranking.
He's got to get better internet, man. But we can brag on Rodgers right now. Rodgers can be one of those guys. If he wins your league, awesome. Good job for you. I don't see that happening. If he's in your Superflex league and get him as your QB2, cool. He's not gonna be the rushing upside he did in his prime. He doesn't have the offense like Stafford has with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. The play calling coach. He's got a good offensive coach, but he was an old guy. He's not one of these young offensive geniuses. He was a quarterback developer back in the 90s and early 2000s. That's what McCarthy did. I love Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman's not a guy that excites you from a fantasy standpoint. That's going to get a ton of. He's a good receiver. He's going to move the ball. You got Rico Dowdle and Jalen Warren as your running backs. I used to love DK, but he's just a good receiver. He's not a great receiver. There's nothing about that offense that excites you. There's no reason Aaron Rodgers should be blowing teams out the water with his statistics. You're looking at a very average to below average year. If he's your QB2, you hope he's good. That's kind of how I feel about him right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a waiver wire guy. I think he's sitting out
he should not be drafted.
Hanging out, and he's sitting out there hanging out. It's week 9. You need somebody to start. Throw him in. he'll get you 10 points, 15 points. Maybe get lucky, get you 20.
Again, at that point, don't even draft. I mean, go get a guy like Mendoza if he's starting at that point.
Yeah.
Or look at Shador.
Higher upside.
That's
Oh, not Shador.
grosses
No.
me out.
No, not Shador.
Shador has better weapons, though. Like, that's what's crazy is if you throw a pass to Harold Fannin, you're more excited.
Well, I do love Harold Fanning. He's
We're excited
really
about the talent that's on the Browns besides Shador. Aaron Rodgers, again, Pittman's the guy we're most excited about. He's just a dude that's going to get you like a 8-yard catch and go down.
He just got shipped out. Like he just got kicked off the team.
Casey Concepcion can take it to the house. You have so many more pieces. You'd rather take a shot on Shador because if someone takes the ball and breaks it, that's a lot of points for Shador. Like that gives you more than Rodgers does, which is, and I have Shador lower, but again, we don't know who's going to be the starter. That's why I have Rodgers a little bit higher because we know he's starting.
Yeah,
so overall, he's going to get more points. But nothing about that team excites me.
No, I'm very low on Pittsburgh. I don't understand why fire Mike Tomlin to bring in McCarthy. I just don't know what their plans are. So let them do their thing. But yeah, no, that's gonna wrap the show up. I know we got Black Box Brad over here, but hopefully he's
spirit.
able to next episode. Now, look, we appreciate y'all jumping in. This was our quarterback rankings for fantasy football this year. And if you enjoyed what you heard, please like and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube, X, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram. We're everywhere. We're trying to get out there. We're trying to make a name for ourselves. We got a lot of good stuff coming from our analytics team with Dan, as well as our Black Box with Brad. So I don't want to rag on him too much. But join us next time. We're going to have 4 more episodes actually coming out. We got our tight ends, our running backs, our wide receivers, and we also have an episode that we recorded that just talks about general fantasy and general fantasy strategy. So tune in and hope you enjoy.
There you go.